Unfortunately, in mass, that group of women does understand this one specific thing at a higher degree than black women do in mass. So that's why you see a lot of athletes dating white girls. You hear them talk about it. These girls get with these niggas in college. They're doing homework. They're meal prepping for him. They're actually taking care of his like any type of social media he has. Like these girls are playing the long game, even if it's just for the money. But they are doing the things that make his life easier because of what they were taught to do.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Go ahead, Becky. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, but here's the thing, right? People, to your point, like to say things, but yet they still don't have the boundaries or the practice to set it up, right? It's just like broke people saying, well, if I would have had $100,000, I would have got rich. Okay. And I always tell people, let's use Trump for an example, even though people hate him, whatever. He flipped the 100,000 that his dad gave him to 100 million.
Well, his dad gave him 2 million.
His dad, he gave him a whole lot more.
Yeah, he gave him 2 million.
His dad gave him 2 million.
He multiplied it by how much, though?
After he lost that shit, he didn't just give him that. He gave him his connections and his status and his name, and those are what made the moves. I would say he was savvy and developed the character to be able to negotiate. However, what helped him even more than the money was the circles that he was already in, the access to the people who already were in the position to multiply his money, because he didn't do it by himself. He had to negotiate with people who were familiar based on his dad's connections.
Okay, so we'll use him as an example, right? His connections is whatever. Most people won't even invest $100 into the stock market to try to turn it into 1,000. And we got all the YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, books. They ain't gonna do it. It's $100 instead of spending it on the new Jordans and putting it in the stock market. Let me see if it turned into some money long term.
You're not wrong, because the crazy part is that most people will never really run in circles of echelons. They'll never be in those rooms, and that's fine, right? But I think the part that doesn't get accounted for, mainly, I'm gonna pick on the women for a minute. I think this is where I don't think they see themselves. If y'all came from the same upbringing, the same access point, and let's say he ascends, right? His ascension is not just monetarily; it's mental, it's decorum, it's a series of things to maintain and nurture these relationships, right? If you have not gone through that same maturation, and he takes you out to Mastro's, and you bugging because you like, I gotta take the leftovers home, it could look bad.
We gotta take a picture.
Yeah, because you haven't now been cultivated in the environment. It's never the money. It's what comes with money. The attitude behind it, how your word. It's so many more layers to it. And I think a lot of times that's the disconnect, is that it's not just the money. This is why you would see generally men who ascend and then now they flip the girl. Because if he had that girl for 10, 15 years, she may have refused to grow. It ain't the fact that he don't love her, respect her. She just can't elevate. And that happens more often than not. It's not the fact that this one look better, she lighter. It ain't none of that. A lot of times is that she has not understood what, easily put, she can only see him for who he's always been to her, not now understanding who he is to everybody else.
And she still treats him like who he was. And then to give you ladies some grace, you know, because I feel like some of y'all are going to date a dude with money at some point in your life. She still reminds him of where he used to be. She still reminds him of all the struggle. She reminds him of all the negative things. And I'm not saying like she says, remember when we didn't have this? When he looks at her, he remembers that. He remembers those things. So add that into conjunction with the fact that, you know, he's a different person now. He has to comport himself in a different manner. She may not be there. And then, like you said, she's going to treat him like he's still that same dude. Like, because she's like, well, because I was here from the beginning, I don't have to treat you differently or look at you in a different light just because everybody else does. But this is the one thing that kills that whole argument about when dudes get on and leave themselves, you know, the whole Kanye get a white chick. Unfortunately, in mass, that group of women does understand this one specific thing at a higher degree than black women do in mass. So that's why you see a lot of athletes dating white girls. You hear them talk about it. These girls get with these niggas in college. They're doing homework. They're meal prepping for him. They're actually taking care of his like any type of social media he has. Like these girls are playing the long game, even if it's just for the money. But they are doing the things that make his life easier because of what they were taught to do. They were taught to do that for their guy. Of course, they picked the big black dude that's 6'10" and going to the league. However, that's why these guys pick a lot. You see so many of these guys picking those women. But then when you see the guys who don't and who haven't picked a white girl, they're telling you that their black or Latina girlfriends are doing those same things for them. So the commonality is it's not the race, it's the treatment. And it's unfortunate that sometimes successful black men feel that they have to, or not feel, but they have more options going outside of their race because now you qualify for those women to desire you outside of just your black skin and dick. You qualify for their affections, and they're guys where it's simple. We're going to go with the path of least resistance. We're like electricity. So the first woman that we come across that treats us well, makes us feel good, and does something different that we're not used to, and also gives us the reverence of where we are in life. Yeah, it's how they end up getting married and shit. Like you think Patrick Mahomes' wife, like if he wasn't so loyal and she didn't do all of that stuff, he would still be with her? Like Russell Wilson's first wife? Like it's
I think so. I think that the way like waiting on a man hand and foot, catering to him, investing in him, and some of them women like financially investing in the men while they're like going through college. Maybe not so much now that NILs exist, but like when I was like in school, they like would come with bags and like be taking care of some of these dudes like that would deal with them off their father's dime or whatever. And that's kind of hard to compete with when like culturally it's kind of looked down on and seeing like you a dummy if you like let a man kind of get away with shit or don't like what they'll call it is getting ran over. Like at the time, women would be like, "Oh, you getting ran over," but the other girls, you know, that he reverencing wouldn't view that as that. They just would, like Hillary Clinton, for example. She probably one of the most powerful women in the world. Bill Clinton fell victim to the desires of a man, and instead of her standing on what women would like to call like business, breaking up with him, taking him for half, publicly humiliating him, dragging him through the mud, making like accusations of everything wrong he did, she swallowed that and stayed with that man and stood beside him at press conferences. Like
that was for her political gain, though. I mean, that's a little different. I would use Kobe's wife maybe as a better example, possibly, as someone who didn't actually gain anything from staying with her philandering husband. But it seems like it was more out of love and dedication.
It's always a gain in a relationship with the man that's that powerful. So even though she might have got an outright $1 million or multi-million-dollar ring, and she might have got political capital and able to push forward, the result of the way women view both of them was still the same as far as the pushback they got from women for staying with the man that was, you know, outright like that philanderer, you know, they got caught cheating on them. They just didn't care.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? So I know you said it's not really, the competition is a lot different, right? So would you recommend that to your daughter? Like if it was your daughter, would you recommend her to do what you were just saying, how some of these women are? They're standing behind their man, they're, you know, supporting them financially, they're, you know, riding out with them.
If my daughter was in a Kobe wife situation or Hillary Clinton situation,
or neither one of them, but just
I would I'm saying for both, because they both had kids, they both had families. Yeah, I would say.
But what if they didn't have any kids? What if she was dating somebody, you know, younger, and she was still, you know, like we're talking about the white women, how they're, you know, they're standing behind their man and packing them lunch and, you know, just catering to them. Would you recommend your daughter be like that with somebody?
Yes.
What, they like packing lunch and catering to them?
Well,
Absolutely.
just all of that.
If you saying like treatment where she, hell yeah. They get that shit modeled. Like they kind of do that shit now because they be trying to like be like their mom. Like that's like they learn that shit in the house. That's kind of like.
But I just know a lot of times, like I feel like a lot of times
I wouldn't convince my girl. I wouldn't convince my daughters to be the type of woman that just like is irate or angry or feels like she needs to get equal and even with men and all. Like I'm not.
But what if she's supporting a man? But what I'm saying is, what if she's supporting a man and like, it's okay. I'll, sure, I have this, I don't know, 10K, whatever. I'll help invest in your business and things like that. Like, or is your mindset as like, I want my daughter for a man to come in there, be able to take care of her and provide for her, as opposed to them build something from